Welcome back, Spring Framework Part 6. I hope your Spring is configured and it's working as expected and as I have shown you guys, right? So let's get quickly started with part number 6 of this series. And in case if you jumped directly to part 6, I reckon you going back and watching all the parts from part number 1 to part number 5, which is keeping all the tools ready, right? So I'll try to give you a brief and very good description of everything that we do. Right, let me open STS and immediately start the project, right? What we have been able to do so far. All right, so now if you notice, what we have been able to do so far is get all the necessary dependencies which are required, and that's why we use Maven. All right, I'll directly go to my interface and now I'll enter 10, I'll say 12, and you can see we get a response back from some other file which is welcome. We are passing two parameters here, txt num1 as a get parameter which is 10 and txt num1 as another get parameter which is 12. Right, what we can do right here is we can change it, we can make it quite dynamic. We know that our JSPs will now reside, all with JSP extension will now reside in views because we have already given the, we have completed the view resolver. Right, and we have given the path can vary, but it's the best way to keep the path. Views are here, and now I'll go to my main controller that's also set up, that is the sum controller. So this is where whenever you type /add, and this is something that is going to run. All right, and now what do you want? I say, hey, I want to grab it. There are two parameters which are being passed to me. One is txt num1, another is txt num2. These two parameters, I may require them, and let us say I'll do in a basic way. It's not annotations way. I'll do it in a basic way, then show you the modern way. I'll accept two things, that is HTTP servlet request as request, and I will grab it in HTTP servlet response, right, as HTTP servlet response as a response. Alright, so it's built. Now I have two parameters in my controller ready, which is /add. It is called, it can be anything, you can name it anything. It's the function that's going to be called whenever user types /add URL, right? Okay, now I am accepting HTTP servlet request and response as two parameters from this URL add. That means whenever I type this URL add, right, these two parameters are going to be passed, right, and I'm going to get them right here. So let me do this. Let me say integer num1 is equivalent to, so let me do integer dot parse int, and you know why am I doing this? Because every input taken is as string. We take inputs as string. I will say request.get parameter, which is going to be my first parameter txt num1, and because I'm converting it to int, so I may have to use it. So I'll say int sum is equivalent to num1 plus num2, right? So num2 is here, right? So far, very good. Sum is not being used. I will say system.out.print the sum of two numbers is equivalent to plus sum. All right, so this is what we'll try and do. All right, so let it build. All right, okay, this is background operations. So let me minimize it, go back to console, and I will clear the console. All right, and it's still doing some computing additional info. Meanwhile, so let me see what is happening right here. Now you can see that the sum of two numbers is 20. Now if I go ahead and pass 300 and 200, I will get back right here 600. Now if you want to pass this to some other view, for example, if I return, I have only one file here in the views, which is welcome. Index is not there, right? So if I go to welcome, now how do you return this back to welcome? Alright, you can either do request dot set attribute. You can set attribute to request, which is going to be the key and a value pair. I'll say sum is going to take sum, but will you be able to take it back at welcome? Alright, so I'll open welcome and I will say, hey, I need to go and say sum, right? And I will use expressions, which is not a good thing to do, but yeah, since we are learning the operations, so it's better. Right, I'll say request request dot get attribute, and that is sum. Now will I be able to do this? Let us see. Now if, because I don't want to print on console, I need the results on the screen, right? That's what I intend doing. All right. So let me go ahead and type 300 plus 200, and I go back to this welcome page. The sum of two numbers is 600. I'm still getting system.out.print, so that's already there, but let me go to welcome, and now you can see that you have added the request, right? And you are getting 600 right here. Now that's very good. Now can I create two methods? For example, what if my form method is not get, it is post? Will I be able to do the same, or will I be able to get the same results, right? Because you can see that get parameter is passed in the URL, right? So I want to go back now and do HTTP post 100 200, right? So you can still see that post is happening and get is happening in the same way, right? Okay, but now you can see how view resolvers are working here. It's a magic, right? And now if I go to some controller right here, and I say I have two functions, one is add, another is also add. Now can I have two functions of same name? You'll say no, that there has to be some different function signature. I will say at the rate of request mapping, right? So I am doing the request mapping for the same URL, which is /add, but this time I will say at the rate of request mapping, right? And I will say, right, the method is equivalent to post here, right? And let me call this as sum. So this sum is going to be called whenever you do post. Let me show this. Okay, it's repeated basically. Okay, all right. So this is going to happen. So I will take this here. Now I will carry on with this. I will say this is going to call, I'm going to call add, right? I'm going to call class now. I'm calling class now on post, on get, right? Whenever request comes to /add URL, I am going to call this on post and this on get. And what I do here, whenever post is called, I multiply, and whenever get is called, right, whenever get is called, I add, and whenever post is called, I multiply. Let me save this. You can see that automatically I'm getting an update right here, right? So this is the magic of Maven. So I will say 100 2 and I'll hit enter. And now we are getting multiplication 1000, right? Okay, 100 into 2 is 200. Why am I getting about 10,000 right here? Okay, let me see, something is happening. Okay, we are doing plus here, right? And that's what is happening, sum plus sum. Okay, let me see what's happening here. Now something is happening, but get is not adding at least. So let me change the form method from post to get, and let me call this here. Okay, let me not do this. Let me do this. Post is called, right? So HTTP post is called here, and let me add request.get attribute get is called, right? So let me now see different ways, right? So now I will call, now you can see I have to refresh it. It doesn't matter what you pass now, so I don't want to pass any parameters. Maybe I'll pass 10. So you can see get is called, right? You're getting sum and get is called. And now if I change get to post now, we should get post is called. Now let me refresh and pass some values, so we should get post is called. Now you can see, now what we have done, we have used the entire class, which is the entire controller is controlled by this request mapping /add, and this is the controller, right? Component, right? We know that component based annotations we are using and we have already configured our dispatcher servlet for that, which is this. We are using annotation configuration. And now we're making this entire controller to work on the /add URL. That means whenever we go to this URL, right, automatically when you go to this URL, you get this error because you're not supplied any values. You can still try and handle that exception, all right? Okay, you can see this get is called and post is called. And now once you type add, automatically get is called. You're getting exception because you're not supplying parameters, right? For example, if I delete this right here, and now if I go to /add, by default you're getting nested request failed, all right? A number format exception. Why are we getting number format exception? So let me minimize it. We should not get, yeah, we can see now get is called. So we go by default get is called, and now if you go via post, you should get here. Now why are we getting exception? Exception because you're not supplying values, right? You're trying to convert integer values, or you're trying to convert some basic values right here. Let me say I don't want to supply anything right here. All right, and now let us see the difference between get and post. So now you should get post is called. Let me refresh it again, and now still we're getting an error. Now we should not get an error here. I go to add, okay, now you can see number format exception. Not supplying any numbers here. Are we adding? Yeah, we are adding here numbers. So, all right, so let me see. For method is post, right? And now let me go and do a post back. I should get post is called now, right? Yeah, post is called. Now if I go and change the method post to get, I should be able to get is called. Now this is the difference right here. So let me just focus on the thing that we are focused on. Whenever you click /add URL, is instead of a function now being mapped to a class which differentiates between HTTP get and differentiates between HTTP post. So let me handle only post. Let me not handle get here, right? And let me have it based on a specific URL again. All right, so now whenever post happens, this is called, right? All right, so I'll say post. All right, now this particular thing is done. So now this is not a very good thing to do, right? All right, for example, if we are accepting two numbers, so let me just delete this get. Okay, now whenever you type add URL, post will be called, and what are you doing here? Okay, you are doing request.get parameter. That is not a good thing, and you are doing request.get attribute, which is again not a good thing, right? What are we going to do? I'm going to change a bit right here. So I'm going to change this string sum to model and view. Now I want this to act as a servlet, right? You can see I want this to act as a servlet model and view. So I have to return now model and view. Now since the function type is model and view, it's my duty to return back model and view, right? So I'll delete this. Instead of welcome, I have to return model and view. So let me delete all. Now what we have, add is typed, class is called, post is happening, this function is called. And the type of function is model and view, and the name of function is sum. So now what I do right here, I make an object of model and view. I say model and view MV is equivalent to new model and view, right? So model and view MV is equivalent to new model and view. I will say MV dot add object, right? So now you can say you are going to add an object. For example, I will say you can add as many objects as you want to this model and view. I will say, for example, the sum of two numbers is, so this is what you're passing back, right? So add all objects is not, so I'll say add object, right? And I'll say again mv dot add object, right? And the second object that I am going to add is let's say about this is going to be a key and a value pair, just like it's just like request.set attribute, which is a key and a value pair, and mv.add object is also a key and a value pair, and the name is message, and the message is the sum of two numbers is. And now I will say model.add object once again, right? I will say sum. Now we need to get the sum of two numbers, so I will say sum, and I will pass this int sum variable here. Alright, so now we are doing this, and what I do here, I say now you have added this to model, right? Or you have added object to model, you have added another object. There are two objects to model, which is message and sum, right? Now instead of welcome, why don't you do something like this, right? Return MV. But there is a problem, because you are returning the model back to the model and view, right? Because the type of the function is model and view, you have to return model and view, right? Because if the type of function is string, you return string. If it's int, you return int. If the type of function is model and view, you return model and view. That's absolutely fine. Not the blank model and view, but you're adding some objects to model and view. But it has one more thing here, right, that you have to take care of, that what is the view resolver. Okay, right? How does it know the view that we are going to return? Because view is being resolved at welcome.jsp, because we were returning welcome here, which was a basic string, right? And it was resolved by we can say resolved at inside this controller, or we can say dispatcher servlet, right? It was resolving all the GSP extensions. We said if we are returning, let's say about welcome.jsp extension is automatically being, suffixed by front controller inside the directory views, which is inside web.inf, right? But now since you're returning MV, which is the model and view, because the type of the function is model and view, how does it know the view that you are going to resolve in, right? So I will say that the view is going to be m.set view. Alright, and we are going to set the view name instead. So I'll say set the view name as following. So the view name is going to be, right, that is welcome, right? Now it is going to work, right? And I can even say, because I'm using request and response model here, so I can say integer dot parse into num1 is equal to integer dot parse int, which is going to be request dot get parameter txt num1, right, which is the name here. Yeah, it's txt num1, and here also we have txt num1. I should say txt num2 here. That's why we were getting 1000 the other time. Alright, so I say txt num1 is done absolutely perfectly. Now I can use int num2 is equivalent to this, and I say int sum is equivalent to num1 plus num2. So this is what we can do also. Now we're done. Just change. Okay. Now what will happen? The moment you click on the submit button or the calculate button, the details of the form will be posted to add URL with txt num1 and txt num2, and our controller is this time the entire class which checks for the method. That means we have to use the method post now, and we check the method post, and if it is post, it's going to execute this model in view. The name of the model in view is sum, right? And we're grabbing txt num1 and txt num2, adding it and setting two model objects. One is the message, another is the sum. Returning the view back, but before returning the view back, we are setting the view which is going to resolve this, that is welcome. Now I go to welcome.jsp. I say request.get attribute, right? I can either do this or I can do many different things, right? So I have many different things that I can here do, which is either going to be request.set attribute, or it is going to be EL, which is the expression language in JSP. So I can use expression language in JSP. I say dollar, give me message. What are we passing? We are setting to the view this message, capital M and sum capital. I say print out message for me, and give a bit of space, and also use EL to print out, right, what sum for me, and that's it. EL is done, so our job is done. Why are we getting error here? Now maybe EL is not enabled here. All I do right here is just save it first and then see what happens. I don't know. Okay, let me see if we get an error here or not. So I'll say 100 plus 100, we should get 200. Yeah, we are getting get is not supported, but we are doing post, brother. 100, 200. Yeah, we are getting message and sum directly. Now that is the problem here. Maybe it's going to be converted as a variable, right? So that is the problem we are facing here. Right, so the language is Java, content type is text/encoding is this, and doc type is HTML. Okay, we are not using the complete page directive right here, which we should use, right? Just give me a moment, I'll come back. Now it is going to happen at times there is a problem with the browser. Now if in case EL is being ignored and EL is being taken as plain HTML by your JSP page, you need to enforce it. You need to enforce the EL on the JSP page, and for that you will go inside page directive. There are two ways. One, you can open a new page directive. You can say page, right, and you can say, right, or you can even use another directive right here is EL, or you can directly go in the page directive because you cannot have more than one. I'll go here in the page directive and I'll say is EL ignored false, right? So is EL ignored will be false. The moment you set it false, it is now going to enforce EL on this welcome.jsp page. Now I'll go back. Now you can see it's displayed. Now I will go back and redo it, and now you are getting the sum of two numbers is 300. Number one, what is this message? This is the sum of two numbers is That's what you are setting. The message is equal to the sum of two numbers is, and mv model.addObject sum. Sum is going to be the sum of two numbers here, and then you are going to give the view name and returning the view to page and model. And here you are using el to display message and sum right here. Now in case if you do not want get, you want only post, you do not want get, right? Well, I create a new file. I'll go and create a new file, which is a new JSP file, right? And I'll keep it in views, and I call this file as not supported.jsp. So now this is my not supported.jsp. So I'll say operation not allowed, right? And I'll go inside the body and I'll keep h1 tags. I will say this operation is not allowed, right? This operation is not allowed on this page. All right. Okay, I'm getting a call, just give me a second. Now, so this operation is not allowed in this page. So what will I do? Right, I will hit a br and I will say a href is equal to, right, I want to go back to index.jsp. So I'll say click here to return. Right, so you can see click here to return, or you can use JavaScript here. Right, you can use JavaScript also, and you can do history.back, right? So that's also possible, right? All right, so now what I want, if in case someone comes to this page via post is happening. Now if I come via get, now you can see HTTP status 405 method not allowed, request method get is not supported. Now that is true, that we have not created handler for get here, we created handler for post. So I will create it again. I'll create again a handler. So I'll say public model and view, right? And I will use here request mapping. I'll say request mapping method is equal to get request method dot get, and I'll close it down. I'm not going to accept any parameter, and I call this function as, right, get func, whatever you call it, so it doesn't matter, right? Now we have to return back to the function, that is model and view. So I'll create mv is equal to new model and view, right? So I'm creating this model and view object right here, right? And I'll say mv dot add, or we cannot, we don't have to add object, we have to do mv dot set view. In that case, if someone types get, I'm going to redirect him to not supported.jsp. .jsp is already resolved in the dispatcher servlet, so I'll do that. Set, that is mv dot set view, which is going to be not set view, it's basically set view name, right, which is going to be not supported, and I will return the model back. Now this is done. Now let me save this and let me run it again. If I go and come via get, so let me deploy this first. Okay, the deployment is done. If I come via get, I should get this page. All right, okay. All right, initialization completed, and now let me see. Right, you are getting the operation. This operation is not allowed on this page. So I'll say return. Now if I say I want to go to add, now you're going, this operation is not allowed on this page. I go back and I type post. Now if you want only post to happen, post will happen absolutely perfect. The sum of two numbers is 500. So that is the new thing, right? And once again, this is old school. We don't do this. HTTP servlet request and HTTP servlet response is not something that we do in Spring, right? we do something very, very special and very, very good, right? Now, what are the values that you are accepting? Now, we can say right inside the parameter, I will use an annotation at the rate of request param. So I'll say I'm using request param, and I will say value, right? Again, you can see that the value expected is txt num1, right? So this is the value accepted, right? And it is going to be okay. Let me keep it just like this. Okay. Name, what is going to be accepted? Okay, value is going to be accepted txt num1, and let me call this, let's accept only one value so that we can first do this, right? So I can say enter your name, right? So I'll say txt name so that you understand it in a much better way, right? I'll go to the controller and I'll say request param value is going to be accepted as txt num1. This is what we are accepting, txt num1 as a request parameter, right? And I will close down this and I will give this parameter name, that is string name. All right, so now what is going to happen? This is not required. Now you are accepting txt name, which is the requested parameter, as name. Now you can say instead of txt name, I'll say name, and I call this key, let's say capital or small name, and message is my name is. All right, now what is going to happen the moment you call /addpost, right? So you are going to look for a parameter txt, post parameter txt name, and you are going to save that txt name inside this string name, and that's what you are adding object, and you are adding a message right here and returning welcome. And let me go back to welcome now, and I will say instead of message I want to get first I want to get message, and then I want to get the name. In case not displayed, set el ignored is el ignored false, right? So you set it false. Okay, let me go back directly to add. So still running it. Okay, the operation is not allowed on this page. Click here to return, enter your name. So why is it calculate? Okay, let me change it again. Index dot, so I will say save. All right, so now it should be save. Enter your name, NIIT, so I'll say save. My name is NIIT. Now you can see this request parameter. This is the modern style annotations that we are using, right? Get is going to return not supported web page, and post is going to take parameters. Now what if I don't supply any parameters? Right? Is it going to be required or is it not going to be required? So if you want to do validations right here, you can even do immediate validations right here. You can say comma, you can say required is equivalent to true. All right, now if you don't supply, the required here is true. What if you do not supply it? So now let me see, required is now true and I don't supply it, right? You can see this. All right, so it's compiling, so let us give it some time. All right, so my name is basically required and it is not coming. All right, so I'll tell you how to do handlings. All right, and I'll say in case if it is required, all right, and what if you don't supply any value, right? So I'll say in case the value is not supplied, you take default value as right, nothing or none. Now the default value, if the value is not supplied, will be none. All right, so let me see. If I don't supply anything, so my name is, so it's still getting, right? So let it get compiled completely first. Okay, now you can see the default value is basically taken. No, why isn't it taken? Just a moment. default value is equivalent to none, and string name is equivalent to, yeah, that's absolutely right. So let me try it once again. I'll say NIIT, so I will get my name is NIIT. Now in case I don't supply, I should get that default value, right, which I'm not getting as of now. So let me keep required as false. All right. So in order, if the required is true, this is not going to get executed, right? So I have kept required as false, and I have supplied even a default parameter. All right, you can see this here. If I don't supply any value, so value is going to be none. So let me try once again. Okay, now the default is false. Now imagine that, right? So it's still not having the impact. Okay, so let me do this here, because the default value is none. Yeah, but we are supplying, oh my god, we are supplying, we're supplying blank, right? We're not supplying, for example, if I don't supply anything here, I delete this, right? So for example, if I delete it, now there's going to be nothing at all. Now if I click on save, now you're getting none, right? You can see now you're getting none, right? And if basically I keep the required as true, let it compile first. Alright, so if I keep the required as true now, it is going to be required 100%. Now still we are getting none. So now we have this. Now in case if I have the input type text here, it's going to supply blank value. So that we can do in validation and create a service. Now we have to create a different service, a POJO, and call the service here, and that this way it is going to, and you won't believe the amount of dependencies we can have here, right? We can have ample amount of dependencies for database, dependencies for many different things right here. Let me take a look at timings first. Okay, we reached close to 40, so before starting the new lecture, I suppose you guys should practice this, right? And then we are going to start with a new thing. Right. Okay, and now you can have springs.xml here, you can have different Maven things here, right? And tomorrow what we are going to do also is get rid of these XML files, right? And convert all XML files into plain Java files, including your web.xml and your front controller, and each and every single file that we are using will be converted to a plain old Java object file, normal POJOs, and we are going to use all the references, right? And that is going to ease a bit your operation, right? So do practice get, do practice post, and do practice the request params, do practice servlet request and response, do practice the model view when object, right? And you have good amount of time. I'm giving you 24 hours to practice, and come back and let me know in the comment section if I can help you or if you require any kind of help. If it's not working, I'll not be able to know if something is not working unless you tell me something is not, right? And Spring is going to be a fun working with, believe me, right? The only matter is that are you in sync with me? The synchronous process is very important here. What I do has to be completed before the next class. Until then, I wish you all the best. See you, and do complete. Bye bye. Take care.